Hi guys, Meneka here and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be talking about the L'Oreal Pure Clay masks that came out in Australia I think towards the end of 2016. I was generously gifted all three of them by L'Oreal sometime last year, and I've used them quite a few times now. I do use them quite regularly, so I thought it might be a good idea to give you guys a review of what I think about each one of them and as a collection. So yeah, let's get onto it. So each one of the jars comes with a glass bottom and a plastic top. For some reason the charcoal one has a white top. There's rug flying everywhere. It has a white top. It's still green, but it's got like a white plastic top on the top. I'm not too sure why that is, but yes. All three of these masks share the same three clays in each of them. So each one has kaolin. I'm just going to butcher the pronunciations of these clays, so I'm going to just write them down the bottom here. So there's kaolin, which absorbs the excess oil in your skin and all the impurities and just sucks it out. So there's montmorillonite, I think, and that has healing properties. And this clays, I actually read a bit about this one, and it was actually really interesting because you could also use it to improve your digestion and your insides as well. I'm saying that I highly recommend not eating any of this clay mask, but you know. And also this clay was used amongst the other clays in here. They were used by like the natives and the Aboriginals like many thousands of years ago for the properties as well, which is really interesting. So especially montmorillonite because of its healing properties. The third clay in here is gasol. I think gasol, which has actually been used by North African women for centuries to care for their skin and hair. So it's actually really interesting that all these, what I found when I was reading about all these clays, and obviously centuries ago the only kind of thing that people had was the earth, and anything they used was from the earth. So they would take all these clays and use them for all these different purposes. But it's really interesting that we're now using it in our, you know, bottled, shop-bought skincare. Like it just like blows my mind. So basically what gasol does for your skin is it improves any imperfections, and it basically just cleanses your skin. So all three of these masks have all three of those clays, but each one of these also has an added extra ingredient. So this one here is the charcoal one. So this one here is to detoxify and to brighten your skin, and this comes with charcoal, as you can tell by the colour that's in there. So charcoal is the ingredient that's not in the other ones. This one here is to purify and matten, and this has eucalyptus in it. This one here is exfoliate and smooth, and this smooths, exfoliate and smooth. And this has red algae in it. So whilst they share the same clays in them, they also have different other ingredients that give them that point of difference, I guess. So I thought what we could do today is I am going to apply them as a multi-mask. I'm targeting the areas that I think they suit on my face, and then we'll leave it for 10 minutes. So the recommended leaving time is for 10 minutes. I usually leave it a little bit longer because I like it to get like really, not really hard, but just hard enough so that I know that it has done all it can, if that makes sense. But we'll time that as well. And I thought we could, yeah, just pop it on together and see how it goes. I'm obviously not going to make you sit here and listen to me either ramble or you watch me watch something on YouTube for 10 minutes. So we'll fast forward that process and we'll come back and see how we go. In terms of applying these masks, you can apply them with your fingers. That's totally fine. I prefer to use a brush, like a flat top brush like this one here. I usually use one that's a little bit bigger, but I can't find it. It's like a synthetic brush from Furless, but I can't find it. And it's really sad because that's my usual masking brush, and now I feel like this review is like not 100% complete. But I'm going to use this one here, and this is a Eco Tools brush. You can use your fingers, but I think that a brush gives you a more even application, and whilst this isn't like 100% like so important, it's just a lot easier in terms of drying time, so you don't have one patch that dries really hard whilst you're trying to wait for another one to start like drying up. Another reason is I don't like sticking my fingers in there for hygiene purposes, and also because I have nails, so it like gets under your nails and it gets all gross and chalky. So yeah, I'm using a brush. So I'm going to go in first with the... what should I go with first? So I'm going to go in with the Purify and Mattify first. So basically what this does is it absorbs, or it mattifies, well, it does what it says basically. It mattifies the area that you put it on. For me, I have dry skin, so the only kind of area that I would use it on is my T-zone, because that's what does get oily throughout the day. Everything else on my skin kind of stays dry, but just this area here, it just gets ridiculously shiny and oily. So that's where I'm aiming for this one. Each one of these does come with a stopper on them. So I'm just going to pull it off. So there's just a little stopper on there, and if you just, so there's just a stopper on there, and I'm just going to pull it up. And there's product on the lid, so I'm just going to go with that. But that's what it looks like inside. It looks so yummy. And it smells like eucalyptus. It smells really fresh, which is good. So I'm just going to take it off here. And yeah, we're just going to aim for the T-zone. Looks really yummy. It looks like avocado dip, but I'm not going to eat it. It's fine, but it looks like avocado dip. It does. Look at it. It looks like avocado dip. So that's that part done. Just in between, I'm going to be rinsing. I've got a little cup of water here. I'm just going to be rinsing my brush in a cup of water and wiping it on a towel. And then I think we'll go in now with the charcoal. The charcoal mask, which is for detoxing and brightening, I really like to use where I have enlarged pores. So around the tops of my cheeks here, and also across my nose area, and also my chin, the bottom of my chin, or is it just my chin? It's just my chin. My chin here, I do get very big pores around here as well. So we're going to go for top of the cheeks, the nose, and the chin. Once again, I'm just using the charcoal one, which is for detox and brightening. And I'm just going to use what's on the lid. So this is what I've gotten to with the charcoal mask. And everything is drying already. My nose feels very, very stiff. So we're just going to quickly go in with the orange or the red algae mask. So this red algae mask is for exfoliating and smoothing. I don't use this one as often as I use the other two. So basically I use the charcoal mask the most often, then the purifying mask the second most often, and this is the least most often. Maybe not more than once every 2 weeks or something, because it does exfoliate your skin, and it does improve the texture, but it's not good to exfoliate your skin very, very often. So I usually, not even once, I think it's just whenever I feel that my foundation isn't applying as smoothly as usual, then I reach for this one. So this one didn't have much on the top of it, so I'm just going to go into the jar. And it's a little bit different in texture. It's not as runny as the other masks. And where I do like to put it is just on my cheeks. Oh no, I forgot to do my chin. I'll have to go in with that again. But yeah, I do like putting it on my cheeks because that's the part where it improves the texture of. So for example, I'll show you on the other side. So if you can see on this side, I do have some scarring and some acne, or not. So if you see on this side here, I have a bit of textured skin due to scarring from pimples. So this is what this is good for. So because it is an exfoliant, it gets rid of the dead cells on your skin and stuff. So, and that's obviously how you get rid of scarring. So that's why I like to use this on my cheeks. So I've just got to go back in with the charcoal for my chin. Okay, so parts of my face have already started really, really drying because I did take quite a while to put everything on. I usually slap it on a lot less neatly, but I thought I'd at least try and make a good impression and do some neat symmetrical masking. But we're going to come back in about 9 to 10 minutes and see how we go. I'll just set a timer for 9 minutes and off we go. I'm going to go watch a bit of an episode of Say Yes to the Dress because that has been my newest obsession. Not newest obsession, but like a refound obsession. Every time when I was in uni, every time I had exams, I would go through like a different obsession all the time. And I think in my first year I went through Say Yes to the Dress, following Toddlers and Tiaras, which I actually couldn't really watch because it was, I don't know, it made me really uncomfortable. So, yeah, I'm just kind of watching the newer seasons, and I really love Big Bliss. Say Yes to the Dress Big Bliss, if anyone's seen it. It's like the version with plus size women, and it's just, I just love how they're able to walk out of the store feeling so good about themselves and so confident when they find the dress that they want. Like, I don't know, it's just like, oh, it's just like, it's so different to when you just watch the normal one, and they focus a lot more on like the bitchy people and the women that come in and they're just like, I want this and you better get it for me under this budget or whatever. Whereas the plus size women that they do show are usually more nicer. I don't know, but I think it's just how it's filmed, and it is scripted, I guess, so to a point. But yeah, so I'm going to continue watching that and I'll come back and let you know how I go. I'll also do some check-ins, but just before we go, this is what it's kind of drying out to be. As you can see, the detox mask is starting to dry down. It's drying down white, and I'll show you once it's fully dry. But if you can see, there's little dots there, and the dots means that that's where it's pulled out any impurities. The eucalyptus one, if it's going to focus. The eucalyptus mask is drying down. It doesn't really show you any dots or anything like that because it's just mattifying it. And the exfoliating mask, it usually just hardens, it turns a darker colour, and that's starting to do that there. And this is I applied this last on my chin, so that'll take a little bit longer to set, or to, I guess, dry down. The timer is spoken. And yes, I have a duck as my alarm. Okay, so now we're back and I'm going to struggle to talk, but this is it after a little over 10 minutes. Everything is very dry. I think the red is a little wet on the side. That's dry for sure. This is definitely dry. This is totally dry. That's dry. That's dry. And that's dry. So it's all dry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a close-up of what everything looks like when it's this dry. I'm going to get a damp cloth and we're going to wipe it off together and see how we go. So those little dots, the darker dots everywhere, is where the pores, or like the clay has extracted any gunk from my pores and brought it up to the surface, so the sebum and like excess oils. It looks wet, but it's fully hardened. And this is definitely hard, for sure. Chin area is just doing the same thing as the nose as well. So yeah, let's take it off, shall we, and uncover the beautiful skin that should be inside. Alright, so I've just got a towel that I have dampened. We're just gonna wipe this off. Oh my god. The mask just melts off with water. It's ridiculous. Like, it feels quite dry on your face, but then it just melts off. So as you can see, 2 swipes and that cheek has basically gone. The exfoliating mask is a little bit easier to get rid of than the other 2. may not seem like it's important to have a mask that is able to come off as easy, it's actually quite important, because the more that you pull at your face or the more that you rub at your face, the more wrinkles you'll get. So we want to try and not rub. So we want to try and not rub as much as we can. Ta-da! So this is my skin all clay free. It feels so nice and bouncy, and this is definitely feeling a bit matte there, and yeah, just like it feels, my skin just feels really, really smooth. There's no excess, like sometimes some masks can leave like a moist film on your face, and this just like, it's just completely dry, it's soft, it's bouncy. I think I said that before. It just feels really, really good. Yeah. Can you guys see any difference? I feel like my face looks brighter as well, which is a huge concern for people with especially darker skin. Our skin is very prone to dullify. So we really need some kind of brightening agent. I usually use, not whitening, mind you, not whitening at all, brightening. So that's basically just removing impurities and making sure your skin is as clear as possible. I like to use the Pixi Glow Tonic Exfoliator as well. That's really good. I use vitamin C cleansers and stuff. That's really good for brightening. And I use a Ren Night Cream Radiance from the Radiance range, which is really good for brightening as well. And clay masks really help just to enhance that by extracting all the impurities out and just leave you with what your skin looks like without impurities, I guess, which is a lot brighter, nicer. Yeah, so that's what my face looks like now. I just can't stop feeling it. It feels so nice. So I've obviously got a couple of pimples, but this side of my face is a lot clearer. But yeah, it just makes your skin feel really, really good. So let's talk about the prices and stuff like that. So in Australia, these retail for $19.99 each, which is actually a little expensive for a drugstore or Priceline product. It's $20. So, well, $19.99, which can seem a little bit expensive, especially because it's each. It's not, you know, the 3 for $20, it's each. So if you were to get each one of these, it would set you back just under $60. But in saying that, I do think it's worth it. It does last you quite a bit. Like, as you saw, I didn't use a lot of product. You only use a little bit. And if you are multi-masking, you're only going to be using a little bit of each. Out of all of them, you do use more of this one. Oh, well, if you... It really depends on where you want to apply it. So for me, I know that, you know, this is where I want a smoother texture, and I want this to be the one that gets exfoliated. I also know that this is where I get an oily T-zone, so that's why I put the eucalyptus one there for mattifying and purifying. And I know that my grossest area is over my nose and under my chin and on the tops of my cheeks, which are where my enlarged pores are, and that's why that's where I detoxify and brighten. So out of all of them, I do use more of this, so I can see that this is running, well, it's not running low, but I have been using more than this, and that's because it just takes a larger surface area, and also the texture isn't as liquidy, and also I feel like it's not as liquid, but at the same time you need a little bit more to build it up, if that makes sense. So that as well takes a bit of product. This takes, I like use this for the smallest area. So this is going to, oh, there's flying rug everywhere. I'm sitting on my fluffy rug that I take photos on if you follow me on Instagram. So there's just particles of rug flying everywhere every time I take something off the rug. So there's this one, which I only use for a little bit anyway, so that's going to last me a while, and the charcoal one. If I was to rank these in order of like recommendations, this would be my number one. If you're only going to get one, which is fair enough, you don't really need to multi-mask, if I was to go out to stores and buy these, I think I'd buy all three just because they have those different uses, but understandably it is $20 each, or just under. It's $19.99. When they go on sale at Priceline, 40% off skincare, or a sale like that, and that would be like the best opportunity to just pick up one of each. But yeah, if you were only going to buy one, I would recommend this one. I think that this makes the biggest difference in terms of removing the impurities. It obviously, as I said at the start, all three of them have the 3 clays in them, but they have different ingredients which allow them to do different things in terms of like the charcoal, the eucalyptus, and the red algae. Oh, there's rug everywhere. And the red algae. So yeah, if I was to choose one, I'd probably choose the detoxifying one. It is the most effective, I think, in terms of, because it extracts all the oils from your skin. Sometimes I just do a whole mask of just this, like a whole face of just this one. There's the second one I would probably go for is the pure clay mask, the exfoliates and smoothen one with the red algae. I do really like exfoliating masks. You shouldn't use them as often because it's a bit rough on your delicate skin. So I do think that this would come in second, especially because you see results instantly. So for example, when I put foundation on without having used this for a while, I can feel that it doesn't, like, it's not that bad, but when you use this and then put foundation on after, you're like, wow, yeah, okay, I feel the difference. So I definitely think this would come in second. And then this one, because I have dry skin, I think it's a bit different for me. If you had oily skin, you may feel differently about this, but because I have dry skin, I don't really feel the need for this one. I just use it on this because it's like, you know, that could use some mattifying, but at the same time, I could also replace it with this one here, the detoxifying one. So I think that this is probably, if I was to buy any of these, this would be my third preference. But in saying that, if you do have oily skin, then this would probably be higher up in the ranks for you. But because I have dry skin, I do prefer the other two. None of these, because I do have dry skin, none of these are extremely drying. Like, I don't feel like I have to rip my face off. Sometimes I wear masks that just suck everything out of your face and you feel like it's dehydrated, that you can't, like, it's just, that it's stiff, it's dry. My skin doesn't feel moisturized. It's just, it feels like dry skin, but like it doesn't feel exceedingly dry, if that made any sense at all. So I'm actually going to pop on some moisturizer now. Like, so it's comfortable enough for when, like, it's comfortable enough that I can kind of spend the whole day like this and it doesn't really bother me that much. But at the same time, it does feel a little tight around here. So I'm just going to pop some moisturizer on. And yeah, but it's not, I guess my point is that it's not really, really drying. Some of the masks I've used have been really, really drying, and I can't, like, I feel like my skin is going to crack and fall off, but this is not one of them. So that's a good point there. But each one of these contain 50 milliliters of product, which is pretty decent considering you only use a little bit, and they're valid for 12 months from opening. So I've got about a bit of most of the year left for them, and I do think I'll use a majority of it anyway before it has to be thrown out. It does recommend that you use these masks 2 to 3 times a week and leave for 10 to 15 minutes. That's obviously up to you. Sorry, my camera just cut me off just then. How rude. So what I was saying was that these are meant to be used, or they're recommended to be used 2 to 3 times a week. But obviously it's up to you. If you feel like it's too much for your face, don't use it 2 to 3 times a week. I usually only use them 1 time, if that, a week. Just when I remember, and it's usually not even multi-masking. I'll usually just go with the charcoal detoxing mask all over my face, and then every second week maybe do the multi-mask, because I don't like using this as often because it is an exfoliating mask, so I don't really want to like rip my skin every single week, and I definitely don't recommend using this 2 to 3 times a week because it is quite harsh on your skin. But yeah, I hope you found that useful. Clay masks are all the rage, and you know, multi-masking, you know, it's all the rage, I guess. But it's really important to just stay true to what your skin is like, and you kind of know when you put on a mask, you know what it feels like. If it feels like it's stinging you, or if you feel like it's too dry, just take it off. Don't try and go ahead with it. But in saying that, these are quite soft and gentle on your skin. Exfoliating mask obviously is exfoliating, so just keep that in mind. And yeah, let me know if you've tried these masks before and how you found it. And also, if you haven't tried it, which one are you going to go for? Are you going to buy all three? But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video and I hope you find it useful. So thanks for watching this video. If you did like this video, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more of my videos, feel free to subscribe. I also have an Instagram, which I'm most active on, which is @bymeneka. I also have a Snapchat and a Twitter, which is @bymeneka as well. I also have a Facebook page, which is the link down below, or if you just search Meneka, it should come up. But yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!